Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 122, which is called the MahaSunnata Sutta. So this is the greater discourse on voidness or emptiness. And the location is the Sakyan country at Kapilavatthu in Nigroda's Park. And the people mentioned are Buddha, or the Blessed One, or the Tathagata, Kalakamakka, who's a Sakyan, the Venerable Ananda and other bhikkhus or monks, and Gata, the Sakyan. So the sutta starts with Buddha returning from his alms round in Kapilavatthu and going to the dwelling of Kalakamakka, the Sakyan, where there were many resting places for monks. And later in the day, Buddha rose from his resting place and went to Gata, the Sakyan's dwelling, where there are also many resting places and many monks, including the Venerable Ananda, and they were busy making robes. Now, Buddha remarks to Ananda that a monk does not progress in his practice by indulging in company, and it is doubtful that any monk who delights in company and rejoices in society will ever obtain at will the bliss of seclusion, peace, and enlightenment. I do not see, Ananda, said Buddha, that there would arise. I do see, Ananda, says Buddha, there would arise sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair in one who lusts for society and takes delight in it. However, Ananda, there is this abiding discovered by the Tathagata to enter and abide in voidness internally by giving no attention to all distractions. He, the Tathagata, Buddha, remains in voidness, emptiness internally. If, while he is dwelling there, he is visited by monks, lay persons, kings, royal ministers, then with his mind bent on seclusion, having destroyed those qualities that are the basis for taints and distractions, he talks to them only as little as necessary before they take their leave. Therefore, Ananda, Buddha continues, if a bhikkhu or monk should wish to enter and abide in voidness, emptiness internally, he should steady his mind internally, quiet it, bring it to singleness and concentrate it. And how does he do this? Here, Ananda, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, a monk enters upon the first jhana, and then the second jhana, and then the third jhana, and then the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. Then the monk gives attention to voidness internally. While he is giving attention to voidness or emptiness internally, his mind does not enter into voidness internally or acquired confidence, steadiness, and decision. When that is so, he understands thus: while I am giving my attention to voidness internally, my mind does not enter into voidness internally, or acquire confidence, steadiness, and decision. In this way, the monk has full awareness of that. So I'm thinking that the mind cannot be empty of thought, whilst the mind is being used to achieve stillness, voidness. That's my sort of understanding of that. So the monk gives attention to voidness externally. He gives attention to voidness internally and externally. He gives attention to imperturbability, which is tranquility or placidness. Again, his mind does not acquire confidence, steadiness, and decision. Again, his mind does not his mind does not acquire confidence, steadiness, and decision, and he understands thus: while I am giving attention to imperturbability, my mind does not enter into imperturbability. In this way, the monk has full awareness of that. Right, so again, sort of outside looking in. Now, when that is the case, the monk should steady his mind internally, quiet it, bring it to singleness, and concentrate it on that same sign of concentration as before. So that's almost like stepping back through the jhanas. Then the monk gives his attention to voidness internally, and whilst doing so, his mind enters into voidness internally and acquires confidence, steadiness, and decision. When that is so, he understands this: while I am giving attention to voidness internally, my mind enters into voidness internally and acquires confidence, steadiness, and decision. In this way, the monk has full awareness of that. So this is his mind as well as his actions. And this then repeats, giving attention to voidness externally, to voidness internally and externally, to imperturbability. In each case, the monk acquires confidence, steadiness, and decision, and the monk has full awareness of that. Buddha continues: when a monk abides thus, if his mind inclines to walking or sitting or standing, he thinks, no evil, unwholesome states of covetousness or grief will beset me. If the monk's mind inclines to talking, he shall not indulge in gossip, for he is fully aware that such talk is low, vulgar, coarse, and does not lead to dispassion, cessation, peace, direct knowledge, enlightenment, and nirvana. The monk resolves that talk on wanting little, on contentment, seclusion, apartness from society, arousing energy, virtue, concentration, wisdom, deliverance, knowledge and vision of deliverance. This leads to dispassion, cessation, peace, direct knowledge, enlightenment, and nirvana. Buddha then turns to the mind, to thinking and the thoughts that do not lead to release and nirvana, thoughts of sensual desire, ill will, and cruelty. But thoughts that are noble and emancipating, thoughts of renunciation, non-ill will, non-cruelty, resolve to think of these, is the pronouncement from Buddha. So he's suggesting thoughts of renunciation, non-ill will, and non-cruelty. So Buddha then turns to talk about the 5 chords of sensual pleasure, forms interpreted by the eye, sounds interpreted by the ear, odours interpreted by the nose, all connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust, wished for, desired, agreeable, and likeable. Herein, a monk should constantly review his own mind thus: does any thought arise in me of these 5 sensual pleasures? If they do, then the monk must understand that the mental arousal of the sensual pleasures are not yet abandoned, and he has full awareness of that. Conversely, on reviewing his thoughts, he realizes the 5 sensual pleasures are abandoned. He has full awareness in that. Buddha continues: Ananda, there are the 5 aggregates affected by clinging, which a monk should think about. Each aggregate rising and disappearance: material form, feelings, perception, mental formations, consciousness, each arising and falling away. When the monk abides thinking about this arising and disappearance, the conceit of self or I am, based on these five aggregates, affected by clinging, is abandoned in him. The monk has full awareness of that. These qualities are entirely wholesome and have a wholesome outcome. They are noble, supramundane, and inaccessible to the evil one. There is then a change in subject in the sutta. So Buddha asks Ananda, what good does a disciple see that he should seek the teacher's company when rebuked? So this is almost like addressing Ananda directly as the disciple. Ananda doesn't quite understand and asks for a further explanation. So Buddha continues, a disciple should not seek the teacher's company just for tales, standards, and expositions. He should seek the teacher's company for talk on effacement, disenchantment, dispassion, cessation, peace, direct knowledge, enlightenment, and nibbana. That is, talks on arousing energy, virtue, concentration, wisdom, deliverance, knowledge, and vision of deliverance. It is for this a disciple should seek the teacher's company, even if told to go away. But realize, a teacher's undoing may come about if he goes into seclusion and becomes famous, receives many visitors, and becomes distracted, filled with desire, succumbs to craving and reverts to luxury. The same too may happen to his pupil. And one who lives the holy life, a Tathagata, he too may receive many visitors, become famous, but he does not go astray. But a disciple of this teacher, emulating the Tathagata's seclusion, may also receive many visitors, become famous, become distracted, and does go astray, becomes filled with desire and reverts to luxury. Thus the Tathagata's reputation may be undone by his disciples' behavior, as the pupil's behavior is a reflection on the Tathagata. So it's almost like a veiled warning to Ananda. Therefore, Ananda, Buddha continues, behave towards me with friendliness, not with hostility. This will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. And how do disciples behave with hostility? Here the teacher teaches the Dhamma to the disciples out of compassion. This is for your welfare and happiness. The disciples do not want to hear nor exert their minds to understand and turn aside from the teachings. But those disciples who are friendly, they listen to the teacher's Dhamma and do not turn aside. Therefore, Ananda, behave towards me with friendliness, not hostility. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. I shall repeatedly restrain you, repeatedly admonish you, Ananda. Whatever is essential worth will remain. This is what the Blessed One said, and the Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. And that's the end of Majjhima number 122, the MahaSunnata Sutta. Thanks for watching.